Jason Bateman, who, as discussed with you guys before, as a child, I had a crush on him, and I kind of fell in love with him all over again on Arrested Development because he was so brilliant at playing like the straight man to all of these lunatics around him, and he really was kind of the gravitational center of that show. But then I saw him in a film called The Gift with Joel Edgerton and Rebecca Hall, and I think Joel Edgerton wrote and directed it as well. If you haven't seen The Gift, treat yourself. It is a really incredible psychological thriller, but it left me unnerved because I came away thinking Jason Bateman was a little too good at playing a nice guy who was secretly a psychopath. I'm not saying Jason Bateman is a psychopath in real life. I'm not, but I am saying I think he's a pretty dark guy. And would I want to know him? No, I would not. Now, he is, as discussed in the intro, the subject of this doozy of an Esquire magazine profile. And, first we have to just look at the photos, at the accompanying photos that were shot by Mark Seliger. Seliger? How do you say it? I don't know. The guy's been in magazines forever. And they're so, you guys, like, if you didn't think that Jason Bateman was just in love with himself and thinks that he is just the end, the living end, look at these photos. He's like 56 years old and he's posing like he's Brad Pitt at the height of his beauty and fame. Like we're in rainwater and like our hair, which I'm sorry, is just a little too lush and plush for a 56-year-old man. We've got our hands in our hair and our eyes are closed and like ecstasy. It is amazing. These photos are amazing. And again, if you want to know which celebrities have true friends in the world and which ones don't, and whose team really feels loyal to them and is very well treated by them, and what team is not and is looking to sabotage their principle at any given turn, look no further, because anyone with an iota of loyalty to a guy like Jason Bateman would have been like, we're axing that. Jason, no, don't pose like this, okay? Don't pose in the photo with you in the eyeglasses with like your jacket pulled up over you, grinning maniacally. You do look like a psychopath in that one. You do. Now, as always with print media, we have to have an audiovisual component because nobody reads magazines anymore, which, by the way, if you didn't check out my Instagram, The Nerve got its very first profile in Arena Om Plus, a British journalist named Michael Collins, who has excellent taste. I'm just saying, like, we were talking about movies and music, and we have very similar taste. And I like to think my taste is pretty good. I love his taste. Anyway, he did like a 6-page feature on The Nerve. And if you want to go read it, go over to his Substack. You can see it for free over there. Another Michael Collins. Anyway, Jason Bateman sat with Esquire's editor-in-chief, a guy named Michael Sebastian. I'm guessing Michael may have lopped off his real last name and has used his middle name as his surname because it sounds, but that's just a theory. I have no knowledge of it. Anyway, Esquire has this old hoary thing they do at the end of every year. It was always like, what I've learned, and it's like celebrities will tell you what they've learned. And it sets the table nicely for us here at The Nerve. So let's listen to Jason's self-description before we go any further, shall we? Here we go.
I was such a douchebag. I had some affected voice.
There's something about you that people love. What is that thing?
You really would have to ask that person and then ask the millions of other people that are just like, yeah, that guy's not for me.
The first line of your obituary, what's it going to say?
I'm not answering that fucking question.
That's rude. That's rude. That's all rude. First of all, he begins starting off and says, I was a real douchebag. As I always say, when these celebrities tell you who they are, believe them, and this guy is there and Esquire is there ostensibly. I mean, the photo shoot speaks to potentially contrary motives or oppositional motives, but ostensibly it's to make the celebrity look good. It's to make the publication look good. It's to get clicks and eyeballs. And this guy, his second question is, people love you, Jason. People love you. Why do people love you so much? He's asking it very earnestly. And then he posits another question, which is a very, very familiar question to celebrities who have been in the business for decades. What do you want the first line of your obituary to be? And he's like, I'm not answering that fucking question. He's a douchebag. Now, I came across this and I love it. You know, anyone who watched Little House back in the day, there was a child actor on that show named Patrick his name is really hard to pronounce. I like this guy. So please forgive me if I'm mangling your name, sir. Labberto. Marlene is in here helping me out. Labberto, my second brain. And he's got a fun podcast called The Patrick Labyorteaux Show. It's a play on his last name. And he used to be on Little House, and then he got fired from Little House. And he was such a striking kid. He had these piercing blue eyes, and you could tell he was kind of an old soul. And I haven't seen this guy in forever. And I'm watching him, and I'm really enjoying him because he's telling this story. He seems like a fun guy with like a real sense of proportion, and he's laughing at the story, but he knows what he's doing. He's very self-aware, and he's fully owning what he's doing. Now, he's going to talk about going to child actor school, which he was still attending after he got fired, like at age 12 or something, from Little House on the Prairie. And then another child actor who remains nameless in Patrick's retelling, who just got cast on Little House. So clearly they cut Patrick loose to make room in the budget for this new child actor who was going to come in. So this new child actor joins the school that Patrick has been attending for quite some time. And here's Patrick on the new kid.
Well, this one particular guy who was there was just mean. Whenever he would see me at school, he would call me has-been and throw garbage at me. Now, I don't know where he got the garbage, but he always had garbage, and he was always throwing garbage at me, calling me has-been. Hey, has-been. Got any work lately? And we're young kids. Well, he was always like this, and I really didn't like this guy. And it wasn't like, oh, he's joking. No, he was really being a bully and being mean.
Now, there's something I just want to throw in here. You know, Patrick is laughing about it, and he's sort of, his affect is one of bemusement, but the detail with which he recalls this, it really goes to show just how much childhood bullying sticks with everyone. I mean, he's in his middle age. I was really happy to read. He's got a cop's face, actually, Patrick. He reminds me a bit of Bill from Brooklyn, who's always mistaken for a cop. He can't walk around the Bronx without somebody going, man, I didn't do anything. My brother's always like, man, I'm not a cop. And they're like, it's okay. We get it. You're undercover. I didn't do anything. Anyway, Patrick has apparently been, he's been working like on NCIS. And I was really happy to read that he's still a working actor. And, he talks about, this is so fun for anyone who like watched TV in the 70s or the 80s. He talks about being really close friends with Todd Bridges, who was shooting a hit sitcom called Different Strokes. And Different Strokes was about these two orphaned Black kids who were adopted by a rich Park Avenue billionaire, a white guy who had a white daughter. And it was a monster hit. And so Different Strokes was shooting on the same studio lot, which was right next to another show that the bully Patrick is talking about was on. It wasn't Little House, but it was on the same lot. And so Patrick one day went to go visit Todd on the set of Different Strokes. And here's what happened next.
Todd did not like this guy either, if it means anything. He is not a very well-liked person. But we see this guy, and Todd and I, are like, oh, here this guy comes. And this guy comes over and he starts making fun of both of us. Now, Todd's on a TV show. I was on a TV show, but he starts making fun of us. Todd and I decided that we've had enough. And so Todd and I grab this guy and we throw him into a garbage bin. Now, I'm telling you this story and you can see in my eyes that this made me really happy. I'm not proud of it.
I love that part of Patrick's anecdote. He's like, I'm not proud of it. I know it wasn't a good thing to do, but it made me really happy. Is there anything more gratifying than when a bully gets their comeuppance? I think not. Now, I think Patrick is a real hero here because he doesn't tease the identity. He doesn't go, now on the next episode of my pod, I'll tell you who it is. No. He gives the people what they want. Patrick, we would like to christen you an honorary troublemaker. And if you ever want to come on the Nerve, consider yourself the recipient of an open invitation. Patrick tells us that he's heard, and remember, he's still a working actor in that town, so he would know. He's heard that the bully hasn't changed a bit even now. Here we go. He's going to tell us who the bully is.
The guy that Todd and I threw into the garbage was Jason Bateman. Jason Bateman obviously was on Little House, and when I left Little House, he joined Little House, and so it was kind of the thing where, like, it was really a really touchy subject because here I was just fired from Little House and he was just hired. And he kept calling me has-been and he kept throwing garbage on me. So when Todd and I saw him over at Universal, I think he was either on Silver Spoons or It's Your Move. And of course, Todd was on Different Strokes. It was a real good feeling to throw Jason Bateman in the garbage. No apologies. I'm sure down in the comments, people will defend Jason Bateman, but yeah, let me know what you think in the comments.
Before we get to the comments, and Patrick's prediction was incorrect, okay? People don't like Jason Bateman, and we're going to get into it, but it's also really funny to hear them talk. Like, that's how serious, like, a young Jason Bateman was about being on a show like It's Your Move or Silver Spoons. He's like, I'm a sitcom star. I'm on real TV. You're a loser. And this is a child who's been fired. Adults have a really hard time in the acting profession because the rejection is so profound. There is no way to not take that rejection personally, no matter how much a rational mind might know it wasn't the part for them. There were other factors that just didn't make it work. Jason Bateman's a real prick, in my opinion, okay? And if you look at that photo of him as a little kid, that still photo of Jason Bateman when he was on Little House, look at those eyes. Those are dead eyes. That kid is like 7, and he's got dead eyes. I want to tell you about a new documentary I recently watched. It's called Thank You, Dr. Fauci, and it is a deep dive into the origins of COVID-19, a potential bioarms race with China, and what could be the biggest public health deception in modern history. Award-winning filmmaker Jennifer Aniston pores over documents and grills scientists, intelligence experts, and whistleblowers. This is not a left-wing film or a right-wing film. This is a film about accountability. It is a compelling investigative work, urgent, unsettling, eye-opening, and it is now streaming on Angel Studios. It's a must-watch. If you have ever wondered what really goes on behind closed doors, you will not want to miss this film, which uncovers the layers of institutional secrecy and the courage that it takes to challenge them. Angel Studios is the only platform bold enough to release this film, thanks to Guild members who vote on real stories. So it is available on Angel. Go over there to watch, to question, and to share. If you are ready to demand transparency, join the Angel Guild at angel.com/nerve. Become a member, stream Thank You, Dr. Fauci, and become part of the conversation demanding truth and accountability.